Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. May we have roll call, please, Mr. Crotty?
Mr. Accomando,
Present.
Ms. Morale,
Present.
Ms. Ianello,
Here.
Mr. Laurentino,
Present.
Ms. Mahoney,
Here.
Mr. Quinn,
Here.
Ms. Robinson,
Here.
Ms. Roloff,
Here.
Ms. Ottarelli.
Present.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To
To
the
the
flag
flag
of the United States of America and to the
of the
republic
republic
for
which
which it stands,
stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all members of the Board of Education and to the Bergen Record in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, 1975. We will now recess to close executive session to discuss personal agenda items and sections of the reopening plan related to security and personnel per NJSA 10-4-6, the Open Public Meetings Act. The subject matter discussed may be disclosed to the public if and when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. May I have a motion to go into closed?
So
So
moved.
move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we will now move into closed. Danielle did send the link to you earlier.
So, and just for the public, I'm going to put everybody back in the waiting room. I did this several meetings ago. I'll give you updates. I think the board's going to be at least 20 minutes right now. I'll give updates as we progress, but this way you don't have to sit around waiting. So the updated, what is it, 7:11? I'll give it at 7:30. I'll give an update.
Thank you very much.
So I'll figure out how to do this now. Let's put everybody back in the waiting room. Well, board members, you can leave and then go into their wait. All right, I can't find that yet.
Mr. Crotty.
Okay.
May I have a motion to reconvene the meeting and open?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're open. Thank you. First up tonight, we'll have the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody. My report is short this evening. I would like to just address the primary reason that we even had this meeting tonight, which is board action item B88, which is regarding the Saddlebrook Restart and Recovery Plan for Education, which tonight we're asking the board's support for us to submit the plan to the Executive County Superintendent for approval. I think it's important for the community to know that up until this very moment, we still do not have from the State Department of Education a checklist for submitting the plan. We still do not have from the State Department of Education, nor the Department of Health, nor the Bergen County Department of Health, an actual New Jersey contact tracing plan. So the one that we are referring to right now came from another district in Texas, of all places. And we're just using that as a guide at this point. It's very important that you understand that, because it's important to know how much, how well we have to adapt at a moment's notice. That often comes to us by the state with very short windows of time to make modifications. The most recent modification was on, I believe, the 20th, where the governor said that all students need to have a virtual option and that virtual option needs to be an equivalent education. It's very challenging to do all of that for our students, for those in person, for those at home, for those who are homesick, for those who get sick, for our staff and faculty who may have their own pre-existing illnesses or conditions, for our students who may be immunocompromised. It's incredibly challenging, and it's important to know how much work and how many people go into creating a plan like this. So I want to just publicly thank the people who have spent a lot of time. Most of the people on this committee have met at least 12 times. 4 times we met as a full committee of 50, and then 2 or 3 additional subcommittees meetings since July 6th. And some people are on more than one subcommittee. So it's really important just to recognize the hard work that went into this. And when you see these people around town, you can thank them for taking the time and doing the hard work. And I'd like to thank them individually. So, and I know many of them are here tonight. So at PTO, the PTO president of Franklin Schools, Sarah Milnicki, PTO president at Smith, Jessica Crin, PTO president at Long, Heather Cosentino, PTO president at the middle school, high school, Beth Lamboy. The PTO representative, Emma Bonin, who is also a teacher at Washington School. We have many faculty representatives, Donna Ferraro, Jacqueline Santiago, Matt Martinez, Peter Iannacone, Kathy Rippis, Robin Rose, Mitch Zawanski, Eileen Joyce, Lisa Grados, Michaela Viscardi, Frank Ortega, Ellen Ciceri, our head nurse, Patricia LaCourte, Jamie Ferrara, our brand new counselor at Smith School, joined us, Susanna Lee, Christina Sasson, Ariana Diaquino, Ellen Josephson, Nikki Ann Ramos, Nancy Barris, Keith Soroki, Vinnie Greco, Dave Mendez, Ralph DeJulia, Tom Deptula, Kelly Mahoney, Sylvia Zottarelli, Vinnie Laurentino, Mariana Ianello, Ray Carati, Tony Violetti, Lauren Reisenauer, Jillian Cawley, Sonia Otero, Mike Marr, Jane Ellen Jenkins, Lori Cohen, Deborah Wonder, DJ Meisch, Chris Ianello, Ray Searles, Brenda Coffey, Gina Galvin, Colin Shallcross, Bob White, and Dave Garrick. So my huge,
I
huge,
just forgot someone.
who?
You.
Oh, and me. I thought that was just thought that was a given. I want to thank them all for their time and hard work. It didn't go unnoticed and very, very much appreciated. So now what I also needed to do was share the plan or an overview of the plan with the community before August 1st. So you all received, the community received an overview of the plan. I realized that in my, 7-page overview that we provided, there are a lot of questions. There are a lot of concerns. There's probably a lot of griping. I also understand that there's no plan in this world that I could possibly make that is going to please everyone. What I needed to do was meet the needs of and the demands of the state, of special education, the health needs of our faculty and our staff, social distancing needs. It just goes on and on and on. So I realize that there is no perfect plan. I'm sorry if there are pieces of the plan that are not going to make you happy, but for phase 1, this is what we are going to do. Hopefully, as we move forward, new phases based on health and wellness of our students and our staff, then we can and will do more and expand our days and our time. But the health and wellness of our faculty and our students comes before everything. So we have to start small. So now that the board has reviewed the entire preliminary plan, I'm going to be sharing with the faculty and staff on Monday night, August 3rd at 7 o'clock. I will have a special presentation for faculty and staff only. And I will allow them the time to ask me all of the questions that they have. Every organization, every association represented in the district had leadership on our reopening team. I've been in close communication with the leadership of all of the associations to make sure that any questions that they have, we will hopefully address. We still do not have the answers to every scenario and every situation. It's absolutely impossible. Something new came up today and I said, gosh, that has never come up before. We need to address that. I make a note and we find a way to address it. So on Monday, I'm going to give the faculty and staff their time to answer whatever questions they have. And then on Wednesday night, August 5th, 1 week from today, I will have a formal presentation for the parents and the community where I can explain so much more than I could have explained in a written letter and answer all of your questions. And maybe by then, I'll have a little bit more information from the state. So that is the plan. Monday for the faculty and staff at 7 and Wednesday for the parents and the community at 7. Between now and then, parents are free to email me or their principals any questions, or their case manager or anybody else in district, any questions that you may have. I will still answer whatever questions I can between now and Wednesday. I've had a lot of emails recently. I try to get back as quickly as I can, almost always within 24 hours, if not less. So that doesn't mean that between now and then you cannot email me and ask questions. And I think that is the, one more thing I want to say, and I don't think she's here tonight. We have a young lady at the high school whose name is Danielle Kalinowski. And Danielle has been working feverishly to complete her Gold Award. And one of the projects that she's doing is related to helping underprivileged students by getting them backpacks and school supplies for the beginning of the school year. And she will be donating 100 backpacks and school supplies for needy students in the district. She's also, if I'm not mistaken, working with an organization in Patterson for the rest of the bags. She's a great girl. And I would like to recognize her at another board meeting, but she just sent me the email not too long ago and said, how about 100 bags? So I just wanted to mention her tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And yes, the amount of work that all of our committees, their subcommittees and the committee to reopen has been phenomenal. And I think they've done an incredible job. So thank everyone that was named, please. Moving on, we'll go to opening the meeting to the public. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Steve, can I just say
Aye.
something? I think
Yes.
I messed up. I think I said Danielle Kalinowski, and I do that all the time. I used to work with a Danielle Kalinowski, but the student is Nicole Kalinowski. So my humble apologies to Nicole, and I will recognize her at a board meeting and thank her.
Thank you. Okay, we are open to the public. Please raise your hand if anybody would like to speak while I read my wonderful paragraph. Residents are requested to state their names, addresses, and subject matter. In the event it appears the public comment portion of the meeting may exceed 45 minutes, the presiding officer may limit each statement made by a participant to 5 minutes duration. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board are discouraged and will not be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comments made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in the light of the legal rights of those affected or identified in their comments and be aware that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments. Mr. Crotty, do we have anybody that would like to speak?
Everyone, Mr. Quinn, if you could just tell everybody, because I don't see the same part where you can raise your hand. I want to tell them on the participant list, I think there should be a button there where you could raise your hand. I'll see the hand up and then I could call on you. I don't see anybody's yet.
I don't see any.
If you don't see that, if you want to raise your hand, I see Ms. Lamboy. You can unmute yourself if you want, and then you could speak. You can be first.
Sorry. Yeah, I can't find the raise your hand thing down there.
Oh,
I don't know where it is, so that might be part of, I don't know. I can't locate it.
Okay.
So Beth Lamboy, 138 Skillman Terrace, Saddlebrook, parent comment. Just wanted to thank the board and all the 50 committee members that we've been working with the last few weeks over working out, trying to navigate this new getting back into school. It was a lot of hard work and a lot of stress, and still a lot of stress and still a lot of hard work, but just wanted to say thanks to everybody.
thank you, Beth.
That's it.
Thank you. Also, just in case somebody's still looking, if you go, if you're not in full screen, click on more, or if you're on full screen, just click on participants. At the bottom of the list, you should see raise hand in the pop-up window.
Okay, we have a Sal Lazara.
Thank you, Danielle.
Sure. Mr. Lazara?
Yes, hello. Sorry, it's the wife. It's Miss Liza.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. So first off, I live on 234 Hillside here in Saddlebrook, and I just wanted to thank you all. I know that you've been working tirelessly to try to figure the situation out. My question is this: when I was reading, the email that we received, is understanding how it's going to work for those children that attend the school day. When they come home after lunch and recess, they're being required to continue till 3:05 or 3:15. Like, how is that ideally going to work for, the working parents who have to leave them with grandparents who don't know how to navigate computers? I mean, that's my major concern. I'm a teacher, and, I'm already thinking myself, I will probably be required to be teaching, directly from the school, regardless whether or not we are remote.
Right.
And I'm already having, anxiety trying to figure out who's going to take care of my child on the days that he's home.
So this for the days he's home or for the days he comes home in the afternoon?
Well, even for the days he comes home in the afternoon.
Because the schedules are different. That's why.
Correct.
So when he's in school during the day, and I'm going to explain all of this on Wednesday night. I hope you can attend. When he's in school during the day and then comes home for lunch and in the afternoon does not need to log into the computer because he's done his schoolwork for the day, may have homework or something like that. Now,
Okay.
on the day that he's not in school, he will work independently for the top half of the day. And in the afternoon, he will log on with FaceTime with his teacher. Because obviously the teachers are teaching during the day. They can't have FaceTime with the kids who are at home.
Okay, so it's going to be pretty much like what we did right now for the months that they were working via Google Classroom and then having some FaceTime or Zoom, with
In
the
the afternoon for the days that they're home. Yes.
Okay, but now what happens if they can't log on for the afternoon because parents are not home? Are there repercussions for that as far as grade wise? Will they be allowed to make it up at any point? That's my major concern.
I understand. So I think, we need to be flexible, especially for our youngest learners. And we're going to do everything we can at the beginning of the year to provide workshops for both parents and the teachers to work with the students in school before, that like first week after Labor Day,
Correct.
getting the students to log on. I don't know how old your son is, but getting the students to understand how they can log on to their classroom. We've also spent a lot of time talking about what took place in the spring, and we're continuing to work on this, and how we can do better than what we did in the spring, because you are always reflecting on how do we do better. So setting up the Google Classroom in a way that is manageable, and having Google Classrooms that look similar class by class and teacher by teacher has been a big part of our conversation moving forward.
Okay, that sounds like it could work. I mean, yeah, keeping it systematic might make
Yes.
more sense that way.
And no, a young child who is spending time with grandma and grandpa who wasn't able to get on will not be punished, but we will work with that child to make sure that the next time we see him, that he knows how to get on.
Okay.
That's
So,
really
but there's going to be alternatives too to make up work later on.
Yes, we realize parents are working. We realize parents are utilizing grandparents or brothers and sisters or neighbors. And we know we have to be flexible,
Okay, thank you. We appreciate that.
especially for our youngest kids. You know, if we're talking about a junior in high school, I might be able to say, don't give me that grandma was
My high school students know what they're doing.
and couldn't get on the computer with it. Yeah, right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Tracy Sullivan. You can mute yourself.
Good evening, everyone. Tracy Sullivan, 180 Netalick Drive. First and foremost, thank you very much to everyone that's worked so tirelessly for countless hours on the reopening plan. Parents appreciate you and your hard work. I did have a question regarding the email that was sent home. I noticed that there was a little short paragraph regarding special education students. I did reach out to the building principal regarding that, and she referred me to come to this meeting because there would be more clarification in regards to different schedules for special ed students. I asked because I know the special ed student classrooms are usually smaller groups, and I was wondering, since they're normally smaller groups, are those students that need more support in the special ed classes going to be going more than 2 days a week? Is that a possibility?
So it depends on the age of the student. So we are taking a close look at, ABA, LLD, the smallest groups, the youngest groups, and determining whether or not we can meet their needs either more often or more regularly, what their needs may be. For example, a student with autism has very different needs when it comes to masking, than our student sensory issues and things like that. So the reason the paragraph is small is because, as you know, a student with an IEP has an individualized plan. And so to make generalized statements, I really can't. I don't know the needs of your children in the grade. So I always refer everybody back to the case manager, to the child study team.
Which I referred back to, and they referred me to this meeting, so.
The case manager did?
No, the building principal.
Okay. So I can't answer that in particular because I don't know how large that class is, and I don't know what the needs of all the students are in that class, so I can't.
Is there guidance given to you yet by anyone regarding special ed I know you said you were waiting for something.
Just that we have to meet their needs. Whatever is in we have to meet their needs. Now, it becomes very challenging. Let's say, for example, a parent decides they want to go purely virtual, and then I have to meet that child's needs. It becomes incredibly complex. So each individual case has to be addressed that way.
Okay, and will I hear something, before school starts, so I can make the decision on what's going to happen? Or
what is it that you want to know?
Well,
you want to know if your child's going to go to school every day?
Yes, I do.
I don't know. I don't know any. I'm sorry, Mrs. Sullivan. I don't know anything about your children, so I don't know what.
But I'm asking you. You said in the letter to go to the building principal and the case manager. That's what I did, and they're referring me to go to you.
So it'd probably be helpful if
I
have a private conversation.
Okay.
Where I can open up an IEP and I could talk to your principal and I could find out, because I can't answer that without knowing more.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next will be Laura. You can unmute yourself.
Hi. Oh, yeah. Hi. Laura Casbar, 249 US 46. My daughter's at Franklin, second grade. So the couple, just I think 2 questions. I'm going to really try hard to come Wednesday.
If not, I'm going to record it
Oh,
and I'll post it. Okay.
great. Thank you. You mentioned that if kids are choosing to go, or if the parents are choosing for the children to go 2 days in class, the 2 half days and then home.
Mhm.
What about the kids who are going to be doing all virtual? Are those 2 days, half days virtually, or are they all 5 full days?
So there's a sample schedule of a virtual student's day in the letter that I sent. And you will see that they have independent work during the day, and then they have FaceTime with their teacher in the afternoon. And that's part of the reason why the Monday was so important. Because so those virtual students can meet with teachers in the afternoon every single day of the week, Tuesday through Friday. The Monday launch was so important for us. I realize other districts may be doing Wednesday and calling it a deep cleaning day, but to be perfectly honest with you, I tell people this all the time when I wear my mother hat. I say, well, tell me what it is you're cleaning on Wednesday that you're not cleaning every day.
Right.
So for me, having a deep cleaning day, I want somebody to give me a list of what doesn't get cleaned on Monday and Tuesday that we're cleaning on Wednesday. So for us, it wasn't about cleaning because we're cleaning every day. That's why it's a single session day. We have time to clean, right? So for Monday, it was an academic decision. It was a curricular decision, and it was an instructional launch. It also allows all students, special ed, general ed, every level, blue, gold, or independent, to be together with their teacher at the same time, hearing the same message, where we are headed this week. And so that was why we planned it that way. And then that way, let's say a child switches to purely virtual for whatever reason, or a virtual child comes back, they're on that same program and same plan. So that's kind of, that's how that's working.
Okay. And the other question I had was regarding, you said that you haven't received really a checklist for a plan from all the departments you listed. When you say checklist, I mean, you're talking like cleaning guidelines, like.
Well, they give us the road back, and so we're following the road back. We're using the headings that are in the governor's road back as our headings in our plan. But anytime you submit anything to the county office, you submit with it a statement of assurance, usually. And it tells you, you need to have this, and tell me the page numbers where you have it. And I sign off, and Ray signs off, and we send it to the county office. We still don't have that. It's due Friday.
Okay. Is there, last question and then I'll stop. Is there a professional cleaning company coming in daily, or is it?
No. So we have a subcommittee, a facilities subcommittee that has been focusing specifically on how we clean, what we will be using to clean, how often we clean. All of that is part of the plan. The products that we use, all of that is listed in the plan. So what's included in a sanitation station? How do we prop open doors so that kids don't have to touch handles? How often are we wiping down banisters and stairwells? Are stairwells going one direction or two? Are hallways one direction or two? You know, how quickly can we get everybody out of their room so that we can start the cleaning? How do we clean off desks? What do we use on desks? What do we use on computers? What do we use on phones? What do we use on bathrooms? Do we have signage like showing kids how to wash their hands? Or are the teachers now making even the older kids at the elementary, everybody's going to wash their hands? Like it's been exhaustive.
That's it. That's amazing. I mean, all the things I'm thinking of as a parent, like doorknobs, and I'm glad that that's something that's on your agenda. That makes me me feel good.
We even said, and I know I have some custodial members on this call here. We even said, the custodians are going to love us because we need like a ton of wooden door stoppers now. Right. Because previously the security rules were doors locked, closed, windows locked, closed. Classroom. I don't mean the building. The building's still going to be locked and closed. Nothing's going to be propped open on the building as long as I'm breathing.
Right.
But when it comes to the doors, we had them all locked and closed. Now we have to have ventilation. Now the doors have to be open. We don't want kids touching doorknobs. It's like a complete reimagining of what we were doing, in response to COVID.
Wow. All right. Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
those details.
You're welcome. And, Wednesday night, like I said, I'll have all these things covered in the
Great.
slides.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Phil Cosmano. You can unmute
Hi,
yourself.
Phil. You have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, Phil.
Yes.
Hello. I just got one quick question, and it's probably going to be staff related on Monday, but I'll ask the question anyway. The classrooms. We're working in the classroom. We're getting ready to prep them, wax them, the whole 9 yards. Putting the furniture back. Are we waiting for teachers to come in and say, this is the way we want the room set up?
No.
Is it going to be this way, that way? For instance, I'll give you a science room, okay? Most of the science rooms have 5.5-foot tables. Now, if we're looking at social distancing, that's one kid per table, correct?
It could be on two ends.
Okay,
Because remember, they will be masked.
right. That's basically just my question. Are we waiting on a teacher to give us a guideline on how the room is set up?
No,
Your
Mr.
teachers
Cosmano-
will not be giving you the guidelines. It will probably be coming from your principal and your administrative team.
Okay.
So here's what could possibly happen. Maybe they walk the halls with you. Maybe they draw it on a piece of paper and board. But it will not be teacher-driven setup.
Okay.
And then, we're going to have to label the desks odd and even, because at the middle and high school, we will have students sitting in odd and even desk numbers in
So
conjunction
they're not
with
being
the class period. Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Okay.
Good.
Okay. But maybe I'll see you Monday, Phil.
You got it. Thank
All right.
you.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, next will be Jennifer Wolf. You can unmute
Hi
yourself.
there. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So first of all, my name's Jennifer Wolf. I'm at 27 Ackerman Avenue, and I want to start by saying thank you. It's so obvious to me the care that went into these plans, and I feel for all of you who are putting this together. This is a tremendous undertaking, and it's obvious that your care and concern is all over this plan. And I honestly, my daughter's going into the 12th grade. I feel comfortable either way. I realize that's not every family can say that. If you have young kids, it's a different ball game, but I really appreciate what you've done here.
Thank you.
I do have a question. So if kids go 100% remote, are the afternoon live office hours kind of like optional, and they're actually checking in every half hour during the morning?
No, they're doing their attendance every period during the day, right, for the morning, taking a break for lunch, and then they would have live time with their teacher in the afternoon. And it will not be, so when I said before, we really have spent some time, and we're not done, actually. There are two committees that are still going to continue to function after the plan submission. One of them is, how do we do it better when we go completely virtual for some ungodly reason? And so because we know we need to do what we did better, right, in the spring. And the other committee is the Education and Training Committee, because we are still going to be doing work with them to develop videos and trainings and things for the kids and for the parents, et cetera. So, what we discovered, both from the teacher surveys and from the parent surveys that were collected after school closed, was that the too much flex time for a lot of the kids and for the teachers is not good. So
Mhm.
allowing kids, teenagers in particular, you know, to sleep till 1 o'clock in the afternoon and then be like vampires doing their work at night and trying to meet deadlines and not checking in on virtual meetings if they weren't required. And what does office hours really mean? Do I have to go to that? Then the teacher says, well, no one showed up. So I closed the office. It wasn't, we didn't feel that it was enough. So we're
Mhm.
going to, you know, learn from our mistakes and schedule it better. And we're going to be doing at the middle and high school period by period attendance that the parents can see. So it used to be that parents couldn't see period by period attendance. They could only see first period attendance. And then if the child, let's say, cut period 4, the parent can't see it. So now that will not be the case. The student can see his or her own attendance and should be logging into Genesis with his or her own login and password. And the parent can also see that for the child. So we really have to tighten it up because it's real school, you know? In the spring, we were in this period of flux where we didn't know what every 2 weeks was going to bring. And it's very anxiety provoking, especially for kids who need structure and for people like me who need the structure. I need to know what's happening, you know, don't just give me 2 weeks. That's like not enough. So we want to create the structure so that in whatever way we go, be it we're going to open up full blast come January or we're going to shut down come mid-November, that we have structure in place.
Right. Okay, excellent. That sounds great. And again, thank you. As you're moving forward, if there's anything that we can do as community members to support you and to support the teachers, like my heart goes out to you. It's a lot, and we're so grateful. We realize that this is, you know, you're taking personal risks as well to make education happen, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Jennifer, do you know Beth Lamboy?
I don't think I do.
Oh, well, I have to introduce you. Beth Lamboy is our PTO president at the middle school high school. The reason I'm saying this is because you told me you have a daughter who's a senior, right?
Right.
So there is something that the community, I think, can do and may have the opportunity to do. So lots of kids need, you know, community service hours for a variety of things, either religious or National Honor Society, or they're looking for a little part-time job. It would be great if some of our older students who maybe walk home in the direction of one of the elementary schools might want to do a little afternoon job of, you know, picking up kids from Smith or Long or Franklin and walking them home and doing homework with them and eating lunch with them. I think there are a lot of families who may have an 8 or a 9-year-old that they don't have a place for them in the afternoon just yet. And I think if our students, you know, could do that because they don't have other obligations, let's say after lunch, maybe we could team up as a community and help each other out.
Right,
So maybe
exactly.
you know, if your daughter or her friends or, you know, who like kids and maybe like babysitting. And I bet you the boys would be great in hanging out with some other boys and throwing a ball and in the afternoon. So maybe that could help.
All right, we're going to get creative. There's a lot of things that we can do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Charlie DePerry. Hello, Charlie.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
I'd like to say thank you for all the hard work. I know firsthand what it goes into making this plan. I just had a few questions. I have a daughter in the high school, and I was wondering who's going to be cleaning the desks in between classes.
So at the end, so the students, we will have a sanitation station in every classroom, and we will have Lysol wipes, and we will have gloves, and we will have hand sanitizer. So what we'll be doing for the middle and high school students is asking them to wipe down their own desk and chair before they leave the room.
Okay, are you going to be sending out the MSDS reports from all the parents that their students are going to be touching the chemicals?
Oh, they're gloves? It's
right.
It's a Lysol wipe.
Send out the MSDS reports for the parents. You don't know if they're allergic to that chemical that's in there at all.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't even know what that report
You can
is.
answer that question on Wednesday. That's fine. Okay. And also, is there going to be extra custodians hired? Because I know at least 4 to 5 custodians who are on the bus every day. And who's going to be cleaning the bathrooms after each individual goes to the bathroom?
We do not have the funds to hire additional custodians.
Okay, and how about cleaning the bathrooms? After a student uses the bathroom, who goes in there to clean that? Or how do we know that it's clean when I have a daughter specifically is going to sit on a seat that somebody else just sat on?
Mhm. So we are going to be paying close attention to the bathrooms, and we may not at the middle and high school, for example, be using all of the bathrooms so that we can do a better job of controlling the disinfecting of the bathrooms.
Okay. All right. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jessica Kern.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi, thanks everyone who's been working so hard, and I know we'll continue to work hard on this. I know that this is not ideal at all for anybody, but and I'm sorry if I am just not understanding this, because I know it's kind of been asked, but can you just go over the Monday that's all virtual? You said that they'll have their teachers virtually. Will it be live instruction?
Yep.
All day Monday?
Yep.
Okay.
They may, depending upon the age of the student, there may be shorter mini lessons and breaks, for example, but they will be interfacing with their teacher or teachers on Monday, live.
So it won't be recorded and then sent through an email like it was.
Not on a Monday. Not on a Monday. Nope.
And then in the afternoons where you're saying that there is the office hours, is that just to check in if you have questions, or is that also
No, that could be instructional time too. That could be instructional time too. So at the middle and high school, it's by period.
Okay.
And at the elementary level, it's with the homeroom teacher, so they could see, how the students are progressing, but it's live.
Okay, so if let's just say for instance, if my kids were home 100% virtually, they would do their scheduled classes during the morning, all 4, and I'm not including Monday, all of the other 4 days, and then have those lessons in the afternoon then.
That time with the teacher in the afternoon. So a virtual student may get on a Monday things posted in the Google Classroom for them.
Okay.
And like I said, we haven't done it yet.
Right.
But the goal of the afternoon was to provide live time that is required by both the teacher and the student.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you for explaining that.
Sure.
Okay, next we'll have Emily Sikimatelis.
Good evening, everybody. Emily Sikimatelis, Bell Avenue. Hello. Thank you to all the committees. I know it's a lot of hard work and I appreciate it. My question is, if the governor should change and make us go all virtual before the start of school, will we be following this virtual schedule that was in the letter? And will there?
No. And that is what the committee, the scheduling committee, will still be working on. What exactly a purely virtual schedule looks like in the event of a shutdown. And we'll be meeting regularly.
Okay, and do you think, or I know it's just to assume, but that it'll be live classes?
I think it's going to be probably 3 days live interface and 2 days independent.
Okay.
That's pretty much where we're headed. What exactly that looks like yet, we haven't worked out. Because now everyone's going to be home from 8 to 3, so we have more time, in the day to work with, and you'll be able to see everybody at once, so it can't possibly be what I sent you. You know what I mean? Because everyone's broken up for those.
All right, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next we'll have Dee Costa.
Hi, Nicole Costa, 1 Leonhard Drive.
Hi.
Hello, how you doing? As best we can, right?
Best we can, hanging in there.
As a high school teacher, I appreciate you guys trying to get those office hours and check the amount of 3 a.m. Emails from students of how to solve a math problem that was given at 8 a.m. I appreciate that. I'd just like to know, will special services such as occupational therapy and physical therapy be rendered during that school day if they're in person for the half-day sessions?
So, we struggled with that because we have the students physically present for such a short amount of time that the last thing we want to do is pull students out for anything during that short amount of time. But at the same time, we're obligated to provide them with the services. So, currently in the shutdown and in ESY, some of those services are currently being provided virtually, let's say speech, for example, whereas PT would be harder to provide virtually, right? So we have to look at each child, and hopefully what we may do, and this is not set in stone yet, and this goes back to my conversation with Tracy before when I said it really depends on the kid. What we may do is we may have one child stay longer in the day to get those services. We may have a child who's on virtual come in for that service. So, purely virtual, maybe come in for that service. If it can't be provided virtually in a quality manner, kind of like what they're doing for ESY right now. So it's going to depend on the child's needs, what that kid's schedule looks like, and what building they're in, and who's providing services in that building, and can we make that happen in that day. But we really want to protect the time that the kids are in class, because they're in class single session twice a week, right? So we've had a conversation about, do not pull kids because you want to talk to them about something that they did to their science teacher. Do not pull kids for music lessons from their core classes because they're only seeing that teacher, twice. So we have to work out some of the special things like music, like chorus, like all these services you're talking about, so that they have it outside of that core area. It's very complex.
Thank you. I appreciate your thorough answer. I actually think you answered a few of my questions within their answer. So thank you.
And good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Brittany. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, how are you? I just have a few questions. My daughter is starting kindergarten, so I'm all new to this, but how now, because she's starting kindergarten, how come she's not full day? How are they supposed to sit in front of a computer and do that?
Well, she's not full day because some of our kindergarten classes are quite large and we can't socially distance the students. So if you can't socially distance them, you have to separate the group. So, and you can't provide them necessarily then you have to have them at this point, and it's just for phase 1, masking for that entire time. So we're trying to build up a level of resiliency, and like a desensitization with the masking. So we think that's a lot, initially. And so, and kindergarten also in the state of New Jersey is not compulsory. So the state says we only have to provide 2.5 hours of kindergarten, but we're providing 4.
Okay, but now if she was to go the 2 days, is she mandatory to wear that mask?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't think that's my problem. I can't even get her to keep the mask on for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, and it's definitely something that it's an endurance that we need to work on, and I know, and build with our kids, and a little bit at a time. And I think sometimes too, when they are with others, like other peers their own age, and they see their other friends, their new friends doing this, and their masks are maybe, I don't know, fun or cool or pink or something, that they might
Yeah.
pink camo is very hot right now. They might be a little bit more inclined to want to do what the other kids are doing. And we will be taking, mask breaks, and we're actually building some, because a lot of the kindergarten classrooms have round desks. So we're building our team, they're awesome, are building these dividers, plexi dividers, so that we can divide the round table like a pie, like a 4-piece pie, so that children can still face each other. We don't, so we're trying to do things that are appropriate for the grade.
Okay.
And their teachers are fantastic. They know these kids at that age. They know how they function, and if they can get them outside and get them a distance and a mask break and a little exercise. We're going to really try to do what's right for the age group.
Okay, and do you know how long we'll be in phase 1 for?
Well, we're definitely going to be in phase 1 through October 16th. And then based on our health and our well-being as a district, we'll determine whether we lighten some of the, or, expand some of the time or cut back, tighten up. Yep.
Now, say I want to send her somewhere else. Can I do that? Or am I obligated to send her to long school? Like, say I wanted to send her to a private kindergarten right now so she can get what she needs to get. Am I allowed to do that?
You're allowed to do, yeah, absolutely. If you want to send your child to private school, I mean, any parent could do that at any given time. And then what happens is if she comes for the year, do you mean, or for a period of time?
Well, like, say you guys, okay, like, we're going to open up school again back to, like, a little bit of normalcy. Then can I enroll her back in?
Yeah, well, because you wouldn't be enrolled at that point. You and your daughter, she wouldn't be enrolled. You'd be in private school. And at any time you want to enroll your child into our program, we would have to accept her. Sure.
Accept her again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right. I think you guys really helped my thing, my question.
Right. So you could disenroll and provide some other education for her if that's what works for your family. I mean, we hate to see her go, but we understand.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we got a few more hands up. When I call on you, just please state your full name for the meeting. Next one will be Diane.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
My name is Diane Cantarella. I'm 586 Hickory Ave. I have two questions. They're both for the elementary school. I have two children at Long. The first question is on the very beginning of the email where it says that on page 1, it says that masks must be worn at all times when social distancing cannot happen. Does that mean that when these are for children that obviously will be there 2 days a week. When they
Everybody will be there 2 days a week. Yep.
When they are at their desks and they are properly social distanced, does that mean that they're allowed to take a break and take their mask down?
They can take breaks directed by the teacher, and I'll explain to you why.
Okay.
So everybody has different health needs, and everyone's health needs are private and protected. You don't know if your teacher has a health need requiring everybody in her presence to need a mask. And you don't know if the child sitting 6 feet from your son has any pre-existing health conditions that require everybody around him to wear a mask. So the rule is everyone wears a mask when they're on our campus. And the teacher will know if there's somebody in the class who maybe needs a special seat to sit away from everybody else, because when we take a mask break, this child, cannot be exposed, for example. So that's why they have to be directed by the teacher. The children cannot take it upon themselves to take their masks off. So it's very complex. And I know that that's not, super reassuring, but as of, I think yesterday, the CDC, which previously said 6 feet and 15 minutes, they're now saying that's not enough. Now, who are we listening to? The CDC, this doctor, that doctor, the quack on Facebook that says this is all the work of the devil. I mean, I don't know who to listen to anymore. All I know is that I have some kids and some teachers who have documentation that say this child cannot be in an environment where people don't have masks. So that's the way we have to go.
Okay, and I just have one more question. Again, for elementary school, for the children who go hybrid. For example, my youngest is going into first grade. She does not read independently yet.
Not a lot of first graders do. Okay.
Right, exactly. So on the days that she is independent, she will most likely be at her grandmother's house with 4 other children.
Okay.
And I just want to know if the work that she's asked to be doing independently, can that be done, after 3:05 when I get home, or will she have to be able to submit that before 3:05, or I'm unclear about whether it has to be done by 12:35, which would be
by the end of the school day. So we're working within the school day. If you need an extension on a submission of her work, then you would need to go through the teacher. And you explain to the teacher what you just explained to me. And we understand that we need to be flexible. Now, if what she can do is practice, because remember, when you see your teacher every other day, she could provide you with something to take home for tomorrow, right? So it could be at the younger levels, there's probably more paper involved. It's not like we're uploading our letters work. We're actually doing it on paper. So the teachers may be sending something home for practice, or maybe they're practicing their sight words, or maybe they're practicing their math and their counting, or something that's appropriate. We understand that there's a lot of technology involved in anybody's plan, and that too much technology is not good for kids. We also understand that at a certain age, it's just inappropriate to have too much. So when she is home, let's say with grandma on her independent day, she will have things to do. And then in the afternoon, I don't know how old all the other kids are, but if we could teach your daughter and or one of the other kids could assist her in hopping onto her classroom, she could see her teacher in the afternoon.
Right. But in the spring, we had until I think it was 11 o'clock at night to submit work, so that will not be the same.
We had a long conversation about the 11:59 thing. We see the pros and the cons of it. Gives parents and families and kids time to finish something. It also allows people like me who tend to work late on things the time to have peace and quiet and work late. And then in some cases, it poses a problem because then kids aren't doing things until late at night. The older ones especially, the quality of work may suffer. We gave that time like to say, well, it's due today. And if you get it to me before midnight, it's still today. What we're trying to change the conversation and say that it's due when I see you next time.
Okay.
So if we can shift that, then people do still have the flexibility. And I'm not checking for it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon because you'll do your attendance separately.
Okay.
So, yeah, so your daughter will be checked in for in attendance, but then her work will be due when she sees her teacher next time. So that's what we're trying to do.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And thank you to the entire committee that have been working so hard and all the people in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is, well, it's Galaxy Note 9. If you could state your name.
Hi, it's Haley Traverso, 596 Elm Ave. Thank you to all of you, first of all, and I think you've done a wonderful job, with what we have. Very simple, quick question. Obviously, looking at our 6-week, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. During our 6-week phase 1, we already have 3 Mondays off for holidays. And since that Monday is being used to guide the week, will those somehow be replaced, or we're going to just leave it at the teacher's hands?
No, what I'm doing is I'm actually I have already created a calendar through January 31st with colored days so that everybody knows what we're doing on which day. And if we're not launching something on a Monday, what is it? So we actually have that all planned out, and parents will receive that before school opens so that they see that. And teachers may know, I'm not going to be with you next Monday. So this is for this week. And then next week you're doing that, so that we have a better plan. Yeah, September had the 2 Mondays in it. And I think October has 1.
Yes.
And then November, we had some, kooky days with November, with election week, teacher convention. So I went through and I colorized the whole first half of the year, which will be released to you.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, next is Susan Winter. Susan, can you unmute yourself?
Mute me.
Okay, here you
Okay, hi. I think you can hear me. Yes?
Yes.
Hello,
Yep.
everybody. I appreciate the time and I appreciate the work, and the case managers are working hard. I just want to say we only have 10 days. We're doing our best. We don't have a lot of answers, but my questions really are about the unmasking. I know in the document we received, it said if a student repeatedly refused to wear a mask, that there might be some ramifications. So
there will be.
Oh, like, is there a number? Like, how do we know when a student is, and what's the procedure if we have that scenario where
So-
a student, yeah, that's the
I'll be working with the principals because, as you know, when we're talking about a first grader and we're talking about a 16-year-old, it's two
Yeah.
completely different conversations.
I'm
So
thinking more of the little kids who.
yeah, so we have to have that conversation. We do the best we can to take them and to educate them. We enlist the help of the counselor, the nurse, the parents, you know, and we do the best we can. And if a child cannot comply, will not comply, they have to go home. They have to go to virtual.
My question becomes then, I mean, that means that the staff member is facing a child with no mask on.
We're going to do the best we can, Susan.
6 feet away. I'm just trying to picture that scenario, which so I don't. It would help me as a staff person to have some clarification about who would have to intervene and protecting staff safety in that period. And it's similar to with the having snack. So if they're having a snack in the course of a day, they have to take their masks off. If they're only 3 feet apart, that becomes a bigger problem. If they're 6 feet apart, I guess that's a little bit safer. But those sort of questions, how all of that actually works in a classroom, kids who can't open their snacks, kids whose mask falls on the floor, kids who don't know how to put the mask back on, kids that sneeze when the mask is off, kids that cough when the mask is off. And as a staff member, somebody has to intervene. And I feel like that really puts our health and safety, it compromises us in ways that we're not first responders and we didn't sign up to be compromised. So I'm just wanting to know who's responsible for that.
Principal of the building is responsible for the discipline in the building. And if you're having a problem with, if a classroom teacher is having a problem with a child who is non-compliant, then the principal would intervene with the help of the counselor and or the nurse for appropriate, you know, conversation and discussions about health and maintaining good health and good practices. And we are going to create some videos and things like that for families and children. Matt Martinez, Colin Shallcross have a SWAT team of about 60 people in our district who were willing to participate in being actors in these videos and making some fun educational videos for the students. All of the faculty will be masked. And here's the beauty of when I mask, it's to protect you. And when you mask, it's to protect me, right? So if everybody is wearing their mask, we're in a much better situation. If the teacher is wearing her mask, when the student does at a 6-foot distance what he's not supposed to do, the teacher can direct the student to put the mask back on. And if the student
would have to ensure that the child is 6 feet, not 3 feet.
So that is our responsibility. We set up the classrooms, we measure the distance, we mark the floors. We have reduced classrooms to approximately half their size, if not smaller, by creating blue and gold cohorts. That's part of the reason we're doing that. 15% of our student population is slated to work from home. And what we could do on Monday night when I have the presentation, all of the principals will probably be there to answer your questions. So if we have any specific questions related to how we're going to handle things in the building.
That would be great. My other question is about if there is a COVID outbreak or if a student or a faculty member in the building has a diagnosis, how does that work with HIPAA laws? How does that work with notifying parents and staff? I'm just curious what we do.
There is a flow chart that I did include in the letter. It really does resemble the flow chart and the conversations that took place in the professional development training from Johns Hopkins. And so we will be following something very much like that. I would liken it to a pink eye or a lice outbreak when we don't make a public statement of who has the lice, but sometimes, you know, if you know the entire classroom has been checked and then little Tommy is out for 3 days, everybody can kind of figure out who had the lice. The difference is that if somebody goes test positive, everybody goes home. Everyone goes home. In that class, that teacher, we contact trace and everyone goes home. So no one's looking at Tommy's little empty desk. And if nobody wants to share, which you and I both know that the entire community is going to know who have COVID probably before I will.
Yeah, I'm not concerned with who has it or stigmatizing that person. I think we'd all just be worried for that child or that staff member.
I thought you asked me about privacy. I'm sorry. I thought I was.
I just meant, would we be, no, I don't need to know the name. I just want to make sure that as staff and as a parent that people are notified that there is an outbreak, and that we have to quarantine or we have to do whatever, and that's done fairly immediately. I mean,
So I don't know if she's on here tonight, but Ellen Ciceri is our head nurse. She's working on a whole. Yeah,
Ellen for a long time.
She's lovely. She's working on a whole variety of forms that we're developing. She's working with the other nurses. We're developing as a district, and we're going to be incredibly strict about people keeping their children home when they are sick, and that they can't return until they have this type of clearance, and creating a letter for parents to let them know that as of tomorrow, your child's class is on quarantine. And this is something that I'm not sure everybody is really bracing themselves for.
Yeah, because that's, you don't have any lead time. If your class is quarantined.
There's no lead time. Correct.
Okay,
So
thank
everybody needs to really have a plan in place, an emergency plan in place, and that's why I put it in the letter. Please go into Genesis. Please go into the parent portal. Please update your emergency contacts. Make sure that your work phone number is correct, that grandma's phone number is correct, that dad's cell phone number that, you know, got lost on the camping trip is now updated to the new cell phone number, because we need to be able to get in contact with people. And you need backup people if your child needs to be picked up from school.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stay well.
You too.
Thank you. Next, we have Avery.
Hi, it's Melissa Brickley, 216 Wilson Street.
Hi.
Hi. So this is also about masking. I think I'm just trying to understand what you were saying earlier about, you know, people with possibly having conditions that we don't know about. And, you know, that's why everyone has to be masked all the time, despite what the guidelines actually are. What about the risk of prolonged mask use? Is that being considered for healthy people? And additionally, in the outline, it also indicates that if there is a reason that you can't wear a mask, and that's in an IEP or a 504, you can still choose, you know, to come to school for those 2 days. So what about those situations? Because you're saying that everyone has to be masked because of possibly people with conditions, but it doesn't count for the people that are going to get the accommodations in 504s and IEPs. Like, it's not actually.
Well, those children might need, those children might need to be educated in a different room. Let's say a library on a closed circuit television or a virtual television with other people who are 6 feet apart and maybe in the same situation that they cannot wear a mask. We haven't had to address that just yet. I don't have any IEPs currently in the district that I'm aware of that right now say this child cannot wear a mask, only because COVID is so recent. And I just don't think that was ever really an issue before. I have many more cases of people and students who have some sort of immunocompromised or health situation that requires them to wear a mask. And as far as prolonged mask usage goes, we have a shortened school day. So if somebody thinks that prolonged mask usage is going to be a problem for their child and there is no medical, support, let's say, to document that position, then that parent should probably choose, the distance learning until we get to a point where we're back into, school and don't need to wear masks.
But it's not actually a position, because there are studies and research out there that do speak to this.
Well, that's not what I have in my guidance. So if the guidance says six feet apart. And so if the children are 6 feet apart and can take mask breaks and can have a snack, then they do get to take the mask off occasionally as directed by the teacher.
Okay, so I mean, that wasn't clear earlier. It sounded like it was all masks all the time.
It is all masks all the time, aside from a mask break or a snack. Unless it's in an IEP or a 504 that says you cannot wear a mask. And then you may be in an alternative learning space, like I said, because there's no way that I can put that child in the same classroom with other kids who have to be masked.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. We have Michelle Roloff would like to speak.
Hi, I'm speaking as a parent, so should I say my address?
Yeah.
Okay, 38 Lesswing Ave, Michelle Roloff. So my daughter's going into 7th grade. Is there going to be some kind of orientation or something? Because they don't know their way around the school and it's very nerving for them.
Yes. So Mr. Meisch and his team are working on, and the new guidance counselor there at the middle school, they are working on video orientation and also giving students and their families the opportunity to come into the school, I believe in small groups, very small groups, fewer than 10, to tour the building. But I do believe they're going to do a virtual tour and, some sort of orientation of the physical building, but then also give people the opportunity to come in and actually walk it. They're just not going to do what they did in the past where they had everybody come in at the same time, just too many people.
But they will have, so they could go in, see the hallways, see their classrooms, at least walk through at least once before they start the school?
Yeah, if they want to. Not everybody has to come in and walk through, and they're definitely not doing it on the same day.
And that would be before school starts?
Yes. Mm-hmm. But there will be no lockers, so that's not an issue.
Okay, and thank you to
No
everybody.
locker use.
Okay. And I wanted to say thank you to everybody for working so hard on this.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks.
Okay, next we have Joni Montalbano.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes.
Hi. Thank you so much for setting up this plan. I know, I could see the hard work in the 9 pages that we all received.
Sorry.
So most of my questions were answered, but the one question I do have is, when is this decision needed by? There was no date given. You say, you need this decision soon. And to be quite honest with you, the morning I wake up with one decision, and when I go to bed, I have another decision. I'm kind of bipolar with it,
No, I understand. I didn't give a date only because I haven't presented formally to the parents yet. And I thought it wasn't fair to ask them to commit to a date until I had the chance to do my entire presentation. So I'm thinking we're looking at like maybe commitment by August 10th. But I'll be perfectly honest with you, Mrs. Montalbano. If you choose the hybrid model, okay, your child will be given a color and you will be assigned, and your child has probably already been assigned a tentative classroom. So you'll be given a color. If you decide you want to go purely virtual, it is easy to move in that direction. If you pick purely virtual, it is harder for us to move in the other direction because I'm taking the blue and the gold and I'm balancing the groups. If I have a ton of people who were virtual and now they want to come back in, it's going to disrupt the groups, right? That's why we're making people commit through October 16th. But if you say you want to go hybrid and then you go, nah, we're just going to stay home, there's no harm, no foul. You can go in that direction very easily. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. When will they get their colors per se? I mean, I have 2 daughters. One's in grammar school, one's in high school. So you're going to
First thing we're going to do is we're tracking everybody who has the same guardians and the same address. Because some kids don't have the same last name, right? But the same guardians and the same address. And so your children will be in the same colored group.
Okay, when will we receive those colors?
Okay, so just bear with me, right? If I say to you, I need to know by the 10th of August, we have 1,800 students in the school district who have to be hand scheduled based on siblings, special education, ELL, gifted and talented. We're trying the best we can. That everybody has to be hand scheduled. So it's going to take a little time.
Okay.
I wish I could answer that. I will tell you now that the principals are on the survey document incessantly looking at what's coming in and starting to identify, groups and siblings, and we're already tracking that. So anything we can track now, we know these kids need to go together, they're tagged. These two need to go together, they're tagged. These two are cousins, they live in the same house. It's a 2-family house, right? So we're tracking address too. It's a 2-family house. They drive to school together. Grandma watches them. They have to be on the same day. They're tagged. It's arduous, but that's how we're doing it.
Okay, because some people do rely on other people for picking their children up or dropping them off in the morning. They may not live at the same address.
If you have a family that you travel with, you should let your principal know that.
Okay, that works. And what I think I heard though is, my other question was going to be, are the teachers moving the classrooms or the children moving the classrooms?
In K to 6, a pre-K to 6, the teachers move. In 7 to 12, the students move. They don't, in 7 to 12, they follow a high school period by period schedule and they don't travel together.
Okay. Are we going to be getting our children's schedules, let's say for high school, middle school, prior to getting our colors?
You'll get your schedule and your color.
All at once. Okay. All right.
Because here's the thing, I'll give you an example of why it could be a challenge. So let's say, for example, we have a high school resource math room, let's just say. So that child's pull out for resource math, and there are 6 kids in the class. I'd like to keep them all together and have them go to school every day together, right? And not just be separated into 2 classes of 3. Why would I do that? So at the high school, we really have to look, because we're going to try the best we can to keep small classes together so that they can be blue, let's say, go twice back to back.
Yeah, because there's some honor classes, some AP classes, some are not in
the
those.
honors classes are big, so I would not think it's going to be the honors classes. Honors classes have 25 to 30 kids in them, some of them. An honors English class has 28 kids in it, so it's not that class. But an AP class, possibly.
Okay. Well, thank you, and good luck with the rest of the planning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Tullio Gabinelli.
Hi, it's Tullio and Diane Gabinelli.
Hi.
Thank you so much for all the hard work that you guys are doing with the plan. I know it's not easy. I actually have a very quick, simple question. It kind of jumps on to what Mrs. Montalbano was asking. I have twins in the same grade.
Mm-hmm.
So is that possibility out there going to be where maybe for at least for this year, I could kind of just request that they be in the same classes for ease of, what.
How old are they?
They're going into 8th grade.
That's hard. You want them to be in every single class together? Are they in the same level and same?
I mean, it's probably something to talk about offline. I think they are, but I mean, I know they're going to be on the same days. I was just trying to kind of.
I think it's a conversation you should probably have with Mr. Meisch. I mean, if once children are out of elementary school, the twin thing, they wind up in each other's classes. It happens. They maybe have similar interests and they wind up in the same classes anyway. It's a little different than at the elementary school. It's an hour here, hour there. Yeah. So I think it's a worthwhile conversation to have with Mr. Meisch, and to put your request in writing and tell him why you think it's important, and he'll let you know if he can do it. Now, if they didn't choose the same classes, I don't know that, it could work for them.
Yeah.
Based on what they chose. One does music, one doesn't. They're going to have different classes.
Yeah,
but we could certainly get them on the same colored day for sure. That would not be a problem.
Oh yeah, no, that I know, which would be good. What I'm trying to do more than anything is probably balance some of our work schedules and just kind of make sure we're nudging them constantly. So if I'm nudging them both in the same direction, it would be great. But okay. I'll take that up with him.
I think that would be good because he can look at it more closely.
All right.
All right.
And one more question, I'm sorry. Has there been any question raised about what, as far as uniforms for the kids? Is it going to be a little bit more relaxed? Are they wearing gym uniforms? And I apologize if you went over this already. But just a kind of a question to put out there about, how people are preparing for.
Yep, it did come up. We got some email requests from parents. I discussed it with my administrative team yesterday. We do have a board policy in place for dress code. We say uniforms because they dress similarly, but what we have really isn't a uniform. We're allowing the students on a phys ed day to dress comfortably for phys ed. And they're only in the building one other day. So the children will dress comfortably for phys ed on phys ed day in their, spirit phys ed wear and hopefully sneakers, because they're not getting changed because we will not be having the lockers open. And then there's only one day that they have to wear their uniform. So it's probably the easiest. Parents could buy one uniform. I was like, look, this may not be your, your fashion statement of the year. Buy one uniform and wear it once a week, and that's it. Like for a little while, because we don't know where we're headed. And I think really instructionally, I think it's very important to send a message that this is real school. It's not more relaxed. It's not more this, it's not more that. It's you have to be on top of your game. You're only here 2 days. So I think it's somewhat of a mindset about we're serious and we're going to school.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Just one quick thing, and Ms. Shanley, please tell me if I'm incorrect on this. But I think it's important for parents to know that although they can dress on their gym day for gym appropriate, it must still be school appropriate as well.
Correct. It needs to be appropriate for the classroom because you will be in classrooms as well as phys ed. So, you can't come to school in your volleyball shorts and a tank top because that's what you would wear to gym. It has to be school appropriate, but also comfortable for gym. It's difficult. And at the high school, Mrs. Gabinelli, with those kids, they start to push the envelope with the uniforms. Now you have boys, so not as much with the boys, but with the boys, sometimes the tops of the pants starts sinking lower and lower and lower, and you start seeing more,
Yeah, I have one of each actually.
Okay. So, we're trying to just make sure everybody knows that we're still in school and we still have academic goals and everybody's going to be on top of their game. So thank you.
Thank you for that clarification.
Through the chair, if I could.
Yes.
Is this something for open or to be addressed after we come out of open to the public?
No, open.
Okay.
And it's in reference to Mr. DePerry. People came up with a good point with the custodians. They say we can't afford them, but can we get part-time custodians? Because what happens if a couple custodians get sick?
Well, then we would have subs.
That's what I'm saying, part-time.
No, if somebody gets sick, they're taking sick time and you're hiring a sub, like a temp.
Oh, we can't hire part-timers to put like 2 in a high school, middle school, and then 1 in each elementary?
Well, I mean, these are finance discussions. Do you want to have them enclosed?
No, I don't want to go there. No.
Okay. We can discuss this later if you want in a closed session because it does deal with personnel. Is there anyone else?
But Mr. Accomando, and also I think it was mentioned before, we're checking, there's a, as Ms. Shanley said, there's a million things to check out. So we're just trying to set up, backup plans for cleaning, whether there's sometime we have to hire a cleaning service. I mean, we're rounding up all this information. We just don't have answers on every specific thing right this moment, but we are looking over that. Subs, if we lose custodians, I mean, bus drivers are hard to come by. It's just, there's a lot. So
Yeah.
we're trying, it's a plan. We're just trying to get the, students back in school right now. And then as we go through the weeks now, we'll just try to have other options in place.
Yeah, my thing with the part-timers or subs is you don't have to pay a pension, sick days, vacation days, personal days. That's where you can save.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying. The other thing too is, and I think, when you watch like the governor on TV or any of these politicians on TV, this isn't political. This is just, everybody's trying to stroke their own ego. Oh, you're getting CARES money for this. We're earmarking $10 million in technology money to school districts and things like that. Well, the CARES money that they gave us was equivalent to the budget money that they took from us, almost maybe $30,000 off. I don't know. Ray knows the numbers better than I do. So you give us a certain amount of money and then you take away almost that exact amount of money in our budget. So you really gave us nothing. So the CARES money that we received is essentially a wash. And then the technology money that they're giving to districts, they're not necessarily giving a lot of it to districts like ours. So we have to then say to them, what did you do with your CARES money? This is what's earmarked for you. What did you do with your CARES money? Because then we're going to take that off of what's earmarked for you. What did you do with your Title I money? Oh, because if you didn't spend that, then we're taking that off for you. Meanwhile, we're trying to spend our money on our kids, on technology, on professional development, on all of these supplies that we need, the amount of personal protective equipment, cleaning supplies, and the technology necessary to provide children with a purely virtual learning environment is just beyond even imaginable. And so, Ray and I will be working on the application for the technology money, which we just got notification of yesterday. I kept saying to him, the governor keeps talking about $10 million in technology money. Did you get anything about no? So finally, it's this very long application and we're not even guaranteed this money. So, it's really difficult. We've had to put some smaller projects on hold because we need to keep $50,000 to $100,000 on the side should we need to continue to buy all these thermometers and PPE and keeping our nurses and some of our key personnel members covered in pretty expensive PPE depending upon the work that they do. So money is just not flowing, let's put it that way, for any extras. I'm worried about subs. If people get sick and we have to hire subs for teachers, I'm really worried about being able to provide subs who have floated around to other districts who are coming into our school to cover for sick people, for example. I'm very worried, about being able to manage that and to pay for that. So we'll do the best.
Okay, there are two questions in the chat, and also I have Mrs. Winter would like to speak again as well. So in the chat, there's a question from Patty. Are you sanitizing desks and chairs after each use?
At the middle and high school, at the end of each period, before the next group comes in, and we're having the students sit odd and even based on the period. So a first period student wipes down a desk and a chair in first period, but a second period student has to sit in an even chair, not the odd chair. So it gives the desk and the chair 50 minutes to dry before the next person sits in it. At the elementary school, the children will each have his or her own identified desk. On a gold day or a blue day, no one sits in your desk. So we're not removing any of those desks from the room. They'll be identified blue and gold with the students' names, and they will keep their personal belongings in that desk, and that will be cleaned at the end of the instructional day. Or as needed if someone sneezes or anything.
Okay, one more before we go back to the public part is from Kathleen, 168 Graham Terrace. She has a daughter going into third grade at Long School. Her question is, if 50% of the parents opt to be virtual, will you consider having students in school 4 days a week rather than 2 days a week?
Yes. But right now we're at about 14.5%. So yes, if I had 50% of the kids staying home and I could reduce my class sizes by half, everybody would be now green, blue and gold, my screen. And yes, then that would be a beautiful thing. I don't anticipate that's going to happen. I think our community relies on the school. I think people want their children to try to regain some sense of normalcy and see their teachers and see their friends. I don't think we're a 50% community, but maybe I'll be wrong.
Okay, before we get to Ms. Winter, let's call Jay Carrasco. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, how are you? Joseph Carrasco, 180 South Street.
Hi.
How are you? Just want to say thank you to all you guys for doing everything to get this back together for our kids. It's definitely not easy. I just had a couple questions for the social distancing on the forms that we received. It said 3 feet and then it said 6 feet. My little guy's in Franklin, and then we have my other guys in the high school. Will they be going with the 3 feet or the 6 feet?
With the desks, we're shooting for the 6 feet because we can do that when half of the students aren't there. There may be times, like on a bus, for example, when students may not be 6 feet apart, and therefore they have to remain masked. So in the event that students are under 6 feet, because it's out of our control, something like that, then they're always masked. But the goal is, for us, is 6 feet, and we're setting up all the classrooms that way. Now, in some cases, for example, when you have a child working with a special service provider, they may actually even be physically touching the child. So then there's no separation. It's the masks and the gloves maybe are doing everything. So in a special education classroom, like an ABA classroom, an LLD classroom, or even speech or ELL, there may be a plexiglass divider between them, but they're not 6 feet apart.
Okay, thank you. And then another question is, will we be able to get like a virtual tour of what the school is going to look like once everything is set up as far as signage and the desk ups and all that?
Yes. So actually, that is what our education and training committee is doing. They're making all those videos so that we can do like a day in the life of an elementary student, a day in the life of a middle or high school student, and show the parents what we're hoping, will take place like before they get to school, screening their children, how they line up, that type of a thing, to show you what the signage looks like. And so that on that first week of school before Labor Day, the 2 student days will actually be purely virtual days, and these videos will be assigned to the families and the kids to do this, to log in, to watch the videos, so that we have like almost like a little professional development opening for everybody before they come in, so they know what to expect, what it's going to look like when you get your temperature screened, especially for the little ones, for them to actually see it.
Okay. And then one last question. For the drop off and pickup, I know by Franklin, it's a disaster sometimes. Will there be like a designated drop off lane for the, or how's that going to work?
I can't answer that specifically for Franklin yet, and I can't answer that because it's not figured out yet. And that's the God's honest truth. But what we are going to do is really emphasize the rolling drop-off, where parents pull up, let the children out. They're met by adults on the sidewalk, and we're going to minimize, let's say, parents on the school property. Because what happens is parents park, they get out, they walk their children, and then there's a backup everywhere. So we're really trying to push for the rolling drop-off. And then we have 2 windows of drop-off based on grade, like with 10 minutes in between each, a 10-minute window for 3 grades and a 10-minute window for the next grades. And we hope that parents respect that. So we try to minimize the cars in the lane.
Okay, thank you.
So that will be forthcoming. That is not completely ironed out yet.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Susan Winter again.
Mute, I can't. Don't be afraid, Ray. I'm not going to say anything horrible. I'm just worried about, kind of to follow up on Mr. DePerry and Mr. Accomando's questions. I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings, but sometimes the schools, at least my building, is not the cleanest place under the sun. On a good day, we run out of soap, we run out of toilet paper, we share our ladies' room with the general public. If they come in for a visit or sometimes with students, I just wonder, how could the custodial staff, if it's not increased, how could they manage? There aren't that many of them. I mean, even if they work round the clock, how could they keep up with the cleaning demands? I mean, I just don't understand how that, and I'm asking these questions primarily because I have a lot of concerns about my own health and whether or not I return. And these are the questions I need answered so that I can talk with my physician and make the best decision for my safety. So that's why I'm asking, and I just worry about the custodians. There aren't that many of them.
Okay, so let me address some of your concerns. First, we're not going to have visitors in the building. Let's just start with that. So nobody.
But parents come to pick up children if they're sick, or they got to wait outside?
Yes.
And there's
No.
election day, they're voting, and sometimes
They're closed on election day.
Okay, because otherwise, I have a man in the women's room at Washington.
Well, the school is closed on election, Susan?
Okay.
School is closed on election day, and it has been closed on election day since I've been here, and it will be again on election day.
For children, not for staff.
Excuse me?
We worked. Didn't staff work election day? Because there was a man in the women's bathroom, a voter. He could vote, but he couldn't read the sign said ladies.
Well, it's a presidential election, Susan. It's a presidential election.
I know.
And we will be closed. I would like to answer your questions if I may.
Okay.
We will be closed. Number two, I am not aware that you were displeased with the level of cleanliness in your building. That has never been brought to my attention. So I thank you for bringing it to my attention, and I will address it. As far as how we are handling managing the custodial staff, this is not the time for that conversation. I will address that with Mr. Soroki and Mr. Karati.
Okay.
And we have a faculty and staff meeting on Monday night, and hopefully all of our administrators will be able to attend. And if you have any concerns or questions, we can put in work orders or address them.
If I can make it there, I certainly will be there.
If not, I'll record it.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Jennifer Angelami.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Jen.
I don't live in town, so I don't know if you need my address or not.
No, you're an employee. I think we're okay.
Okay. So just like everybody else, thank you guys so much for the plan that you've been putting together. I know how difficult it is, and we really appreciate everything you've been doing. I have a question about PPE. Has there been a reliable, sustainable supply chain for PPE established?
Yeah, actually there is. So we are part of a consortium. Ray, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So we have a lot of supplies already secured, and we have actually two consortiums where we get our educational data supplies, and our South Bergen Jointure Commission set up an avenue where we could purchase supplies. So we have, I said, supplies are ready. We're getting some more, and we're looking up some more vendors to get more supplies. So they'll come in waves, but we will have enough supplies when we open up school.
Okay, I asked because I was in actually today going through all my purchase orders, and the only supplies that I haven't received so far are my PPE. And I go through a lot of PPE as a lab teacher, and so part of me is concerned like that I can't run my classes without my standard PPE if we are also giving gloves to students every period, on top of that, that supply chain is, the supply is diminished very.
And students may not necessarily choose a glove. I mean, that if they want the glove, they can have the glove. If not, it's a Lysol wipe. That's up to them. I mean, we have Lysol wipes all over the place. We have them on the copy machine. We have them everywhere. People use them all the time.
Okay, so that's not something that we would have to enforce, that the students are wearing gloves. That's at your own risk. You're touching this wipe with the chemicals. As a teacher, I'm not going to have to say, you're touching those chemicals, you have to wear a glove.
Now, we're going to let all the parents know that the children will be utilizing a wipe and what's contained in the wipe. And if they want their child to put a glove on so that they can use the wipe, then they can have a glove.
Okay.
Or if the child just wants to wear a glove, they can wear a glove.
Okay.
And if not, and they're comfortable with the Lysol wipe, I mean, I have the wipes in my office provided to me both by Keith and by Mike. I have the technology wipes. I have the Lysol wipes. I use them all the time. I've never put a glove on. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's why I glow in the dark, but that's what we have.
Okay.
We had a situation a couple years ago. I'm sure you remember, your science teacher, where all of a sudden hand sanitizer became the ultimate evil. It was banned. It was heinous. It was dangerous. It was killing children. And now hand sanitizer is absolutely everywhere. People are making it in their kitchen. Everyone's got hand sanitizer. So it's like, however way the wind is blowing.
Yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure that, if I guess the real big issue is, obviously, as a teacher who uses PPE on a daily basis, if I run out, that we're going to have a way to get more PPE.
Understood.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jennifer, can you email me
The
some
vendor.
of the PPE that you guys utilize, and we'll work that out. If your orders don't come in, we'll make sure we have.
Okay.
something going.
Yeah, sure.
And thank you to Jennifer Angerami and her team, because when we needed PPE for the county, actually for the community, for our first responders, Jennifer was the first person to reach out to me and say, if you need us to go in and gather our PPE, gather the PPE, we're happy to do that. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Anytime. Any other questions I have can be addressed at the staff meeting on Monday.
Okay. See you then.
Thanks.
Thank you. We have Joseph Carrasco again.
Yes, my wife just had a quick question regarding what was just said. How are we going to know that the kid before the next kid sits in a desk properly cleaned it?
Because the teacher's supervising it?
So the teachers.
I may only have 11 kids in front of me, and I'm directing them all, a couple minutes before the bell rings to wipe down their desk and their chair. And then the kids who come into the next period don't sit in those wet desks. They sit in the odd desk or the even desk.
Got it.
So it has an hour to sit.
And how will they be doing gym? Like I don't know if the elementary school will be doing gym, or I know you said that the high school will be doing gym. They're going to be doing gym
outdoors
with masks on, or?
Yes, outdoors.
Outdoors. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
There's no more hands up, but there's 2 or 3 more questions in the chat if you want to go through them.
Okay.
So one of I'll state here is find it again. Jen Tennessee asked about busing for tech school. So with busing, I answered her already, but with busing, we're going to be sending out, once we get an identified list of students that require transportation, whether it's the tech schools in district or out of district, we're going to send in a letter that was generated by our attorney per board policy. If the parent chooses to waive busing, which we've gotten a lot of those responses in the parent survey. So, we'll have less kids possibly needing busing. So we'll develop those lists from there and develop our routes and use our consortium, South Bergen Jointure, to obtain the busing. But if there are, I'm just saying, if there were the same number of students, like you're saying, and transported to the tech schools, it will require additional busing because a 54-passenger bus can only fit 11 students on there, socially distanced. So it will cause additional routes. They already warned us that. And right now we work with the Georgia Commission because they try to join several surrounding districts in order to, get a bus full and save the district's money. We split the cost. That might not happen anymore, and the students will be picked up from one district only, which would be an additional expense to our district.
The other piece, if I may add, Mr. Meisch has been in communication with the principal at the tech school, and they may be going virtual. So we're not exactly sure yet. He has been in communication with him. So if they do, we may not need to bus them at all. Okay.
Okay, another question from Christine Bradley. Will temperatures be taken? Do the schools have a quarantine room in case of a fever? And will drop-offs and dismissals be a bit staggered to comply with social distancing while students are walking in?
Did you read my letter? So in the letter, it tells you that all students will be tested for fever, screened for fever with a non-contact thermometer upon entering, that entrance, arrival and dismissal will be staggered, and it explains that in the calendars. And in addition, at the middle and high school, we are probably going to be allowing students, let's say, we may stagger the day so that if, for example, a senior has lunch period 5 and period 5 is the first period of the day, that student doesn't have to come in until period 6. So that also helps stagger. So I don't know which grades you're talking about in particular, but yes, we will. Yes, we will screen. Yes, each school, based on its configuration and the nursing situation, where the nurse is, what the room looks like, students with a fever will be isolated until they are picked up, keeping in mind that a fever could mean an ear infection. It could mean strep throat. It does not necessarily mean COVID. And we have to balance isolating children and keeping everybody safe with, at the same time, not treating child with a fever like a pariah. So it's a very delicate dance that we need to do.
Okay, next we'll go back to Phil Cosmano.
Hi. Quick question in regards to, I know in the past, the bathroom they used to have a teacher sit outside, like a sign-in sheet. Just a question to limit the amount of people using the bathroom at one time. Is that possible to do that?
Well, I am working with the high school, middle school team to address these types of things. Obviously, we can't do a sign-in sheet anymore because we don't want anybody touching anything if we can help it. But we might be minimizing how many bathrooms are open in a given day, because it's only half of a day, a single session day, and we won't have lunch and stuff like that. So hoping we're gonna minimize just the amount of time in the bathroom, period. So we hope to do it better. And DJ will look at, the preps and the duties and decide where he wants those duties to be. And they may very well be at the bathroom.
Okay. That's it. You won't hear from me no more tonight.
I'll see you Monday.
All right.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.
Should I keep going with the questions, or?
I'm okay.
The children are going to be taking, this is from Melissa Brinkley. The children are going to be taking gym outside in masks. I guess are the children to be taking gym outside in masks? And what are you going to do when a child passes out from that?
I think that was asked and answered. Yes, they are. What was the second question?
I guess if they're outside, and what are you going to do when the child passes out from, I guess, wearing the mask?
I don't think we're going to have any children passing out. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm still doing cardiac rehab. I do 2 hours of cardiac rehab on the bike, on the treadmill, on an elliptical. on a rowing machine, and I do it all in a mask, and I haven't passed out yet. So I'm not concerned about it, but they will be free. But it's very important when children are running and sweating and really, breathing heavy, that they're masked.
Okay, next one is, I'm sorry. Next one's from Steve Wildrick. Will there be guidelines sent to show what constitutes a proper mask?
Yes. So I think we're going to probably do that in a video. At the very least, the 3-ply disposable, the cloth mask with the liner. And I think, the kids seem to like the gaiters. I'm not opposed to the gaiters. I just think it's a little hot for them right now. But what they can't wear, they can't use their sweatshirt, their collar, or anything that is not truly, a mask. So that's pretty much it. I mean, you see everybody running around wearing masks everywhere. I don't think you need a true N95 with a breathing hole, but if that's what you want to put on your child, go right ahead. I think those are a little rough on the face. So a cloth washable mask is probably the best way to go. Maybe the one with the inserts in it.
Someone's asking about fire drills and lockdown procedures.
So are any of these parents going to be at my meeting next Wednesday? Because I'm addressing all of these things next Wednesday. Every question that has been asked tonight will have been answered by the end of the night on Wednesday. So yes, of course, we're going to have fire drills and lockdown drills because by law we have to. First 10 days of school, you have to have a drill. That is the law. We will follow the law.
Okay, one from Thomas Van Winkle. If the phys ed classes are outside, what happens if there's inclement weather? Will the classes be held indoors?
Then they'll be held indoors. But they're still going to be small. So it'll probably be more, isolation type exercise, self fitness type things. There will not be contact sports and things like that. The phys ed teachers are getting incredibly creative. I was very proud of the work that they did during the shutdown.
Okay, we have Nancy Barris raising her hand. Nancy?
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Danielle. Hi, Ray. How are you? Well, I just wanted to say I was on the committee and I had the ability to see firsthand teamwork like I've never seen before. Everyone did such an amazing job and I'm so impressed with our district. The question that I have, when you have the faculty meeting on Monday, will the paras also be invited to that?
All school employees, all district employees, yes.
Terrific. That was it. And I just want to say I am so proud to be part of such an amazing district.
And we were glad to have you.
You guys have a good night.
Thanks, Nancy. You too.
Some other stuff in the chat are just statements. I would recommend anybody, attend Wednesday's meeting with Ms. Shanley. That she goes through a pretty detailed presentation, I would assume, and ask your questions there. This plan has to be sent to the county office right now, and we'll see what they say about it. So if there's nobody else raising their hand, Mr. Quinn, I recommend we close public.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to
Wait 1
close?
second. I have another person, Patty, raised her hand. So Patty.
Hi, Mrs. Shanley. Hi, guys. I have a question. When is the next meeting on Wednesday? What time? 7 p.m. Okay, and it will be on Zoom, right?
It'll be on Zoom. I'll send out an invite and I will record it for anybody who can't attend so that they can see and hear it. And I'll also just post the presentation. So if you don't want to listen to my obnoxious voice.
No, that's okay.
Through it yourself.
Thank you so much. I was listening in and I really appreciate all the answers, all the questions that you have answered. And
we're trying.
What you guys are doing. This is a very stressful time for all of us. And thank you for everything.
Thank you, Patty.
Is that everyone at this point, Mr. Crotty?
Yes.
Okay. May I have a motion to close the meeting to the public?
Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on. Under board action items, at the recommendation of the superintendent, I make a motion to approve the following item, B88.
Second.
Do we have any questions or comments?
We can comment? Steve?
Yes.
I can comment now? It's okay?
Yes, on board action item B88.
Yes. Yeah, I just want to thank the superintendent, the administrative team, and everybody who participated on the reopening committee. I was very happy to see the combination of teachers, staff, parents, board members. I particularly want to highlight the teachers because this is obviously their off time of year, and the time and effort that they put in on their own time. And it was wonderful to see the commitment that the staff has to getting the schools reopened. Is our plan perfect? I don't have that answer. I think the trouble we're going to have is there's just so many unknowns, and the unknowns are creating the anxiety. I think a lot of families, if they had a structure, if we knew what we were doing 100%, you could plan, and that would tremendously help out a lot. But the plan we have today can't be guaranteed to be the plan tomorrow. I'm not going to blame the state either. I know they keep changing from July, when it was 4 weeks with no virtual, to 2 weeks later you have to have virtual and in person, to today putting out news that they want to go all virtual. So I think in the letter Ms. Shanley sent home, we must be flexible and prepared to change course at any time. Unfortunately, I hate the term new normal, but this is what we're living in now. So I do appreciate the patience of all our parents and students. We will get through this. Saddlebrook's a great community. We will pull together and help each other out, especially with childcare, which is very difficult for many people. So again, I'm going to vote yes for this. And I particularly want to highlight Ms. Shanley and her team, because I've never been a part of something with absolutely so many moving parts, and every change you do affects someone else. So thank you, Ms. Shanley, for yourself and your team and everybody who participated on the committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Through
Any
the
other
chair.
comments?
Through the chair.
Yes.
I just also would like to thank the committee. The amount of work that went into it, the people, everybody who made suggestions, and those suggestions were heard, those suggestions were incorporated. And I mean, everybody from custodians, teachers, parents, everybody made their suggestions and their contributions, and it was really great to see. I agree with Ms. Barris about how the teamwork was just amazing, and it's really nice. I also really want to thank the public tonight, because so many of you, the first thing you said was thank you, and I really appreciate that from everybody, and parents for understanding that it's not going to be perfect, and we're doing our best, and you know, the care that is going into it for our students and our staff is really just top notch. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Through the
Anybody
chair,
else?
Steve,
Yes.
if
thank
I
you.
may.
You may.
I would like to say I was honored to be part of this committee, and the input that everyone had, which was what enabled us to come up with this plan. It was amazing to work on, as well as frustrating and crazy. And the community thanked us. I would like to thank the community for being very patient with us. There's still a lot of work to be done. We still don't really know what the work is to be done, but we're trying our best, and thank all you guys for all your help.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you.
If I can, through the chair as well, I'm going to piggyback off of everyone else. So I would like to thank some of the teachers and the administrators. I worked on the education and training. I'm really looking forward to seeing the final PSA videos. And I want to highlight the teachers that were part of this team. Well, they're not all teachers, but the staff members. Mr. Martinez, Mr. Shawcross, Ms. Rippis, Miss Joyce, Miss Lee. They are a fantabulous group to work with. The organizational, the detail, and the creativity I've seen from this bunch of staff members is really inspiring. Really excited and can't wait to see the videos that they're going to set for the parents, the students, and the teachers. So I think that's going to be a really positive note to something that has been very difficult for many. And as far as administrative team, part of my group was Mrs. Coffey, Mr. Searles, Miss Otero. Did I say her name right?
Otero, Sonia Otero.
Mrs. Violetti and Mr. Ianello. So I thank all of them too for being part of it and helping out and doing such a great job, along with Mrs. Shanley and Mr. Karate. Thank you.
Thank you, Monty. It was pretty impressive. That was a great committee. And they were all good, but this committee is exceptional, and you will see, everybody will reap the benefits of their creativity when they're done with all their PSA videos and all their signage for the district. We don't have to go outside because the talent, the digital and graphic talent of Colin Shallcross in particular, and Matt Martinez, they're going to get together and do some amazing videos, and they've written scripts, and we're all contributing to the script for a day in the life of the students and the teachers. And it's just, I think it's going to really bring the message to life. I'm really excited about it too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Looking forward.
Are there any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, I'd like to thank all of the board members for their comments. I think it has left me with nothing else to say other than I agree. Thank you to everyone involved. It was an incredible undertaking. On that note, may we have roll call, please, Mr. Crotty?
Sure, we'll start with Ms. Robinson. Ms. Robinson.
Yes.
Ms. Roloff.
Yes.
Ms. Otterelli.
Yes.
Ms. Raccomando.
Yes.
Ms. Borelli.
Yes.
Ms. Ainello.
Yes.
Mr. Laurentino.
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes. Next, we'll go to education and curriculum. At the recommendation of the superintendent, I make a motion to approve the following item. E88.
Second.
Is there any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please, Mr. Crotty.
Ms. Robinson.
Yes.
Ms. Roloff.
Yes.
Ms. Otterelli.
Yes.
Ms. Raccomando.
Yes.
Ms. Borelli.
Yes.
Ms. Ainello.
I will abstain.
Mr. Laurentino.
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes. Next, we'll move to finance, budget, and facilities.
Before you get to that, Mr. Quinn, if I just may make a change, the public has these items. So F331 and F332 will be removed from this agenda and will be approved at the August meeting. So F333 becomes F331. So those two items, F330 and now F331 will approve ESS.
Thank you. And I'll turn it over to Michelle Roloff.
At the recommendation of the superintendent, I make a motion to approve the following items, F330 and F331.
Second.
Any questions?
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, may we have roll call, please, Mr. Crotty?
Ms. Robinson.
Yes.
Ms. Roloff.
Yes.
Ms. Otterelli.
Yes, but I'm abstaining from 331.
Ms. Raccomando.
Yes.
Ms. Borelli.
Yes.
Ms. Ainello.
Yes.
Mr. Laurentino.
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes. Now move to personnel. At the recommendation of the superintendent, I would like to make a motion to approve the following items.
Mr. Quinn, would you like me to fill in the few that are empty?
Yes, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, so I just would like to make note that on P551, appointing Jamie Ferrara. She's our new elementary guidance counselor at Smith School. And Jamie was excited and happy to start with us and actually joined our reopening committee. So I think it was a great orientation for her. P552, the name is Kristen Terzian for the position of elementary ELL teacher. This is a new position that we are adding as a result of growth in the program. And P553, Kelly Carolyn, elementary special education teacher. Both of those teachers are being hired at the same BA step 1 through 3, $49,290. One is prorated. The long-term leave is prorated, and both are pending background checks and approved certification. And the other thing at the bottom, 557, the music teacher position, we do not have a recommendation this evening. So we are pulling that from the agenda, and you will see that in August.
Thank you very much. At the recommendation of the superintendent, I make a motion to approve the following items. P150 through P556.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments concerning this? Seeing none, may we have roll call, please, Mr. Crowdy?
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Roloff,
Yes.
Ms. Zattarelli,
Yes.
Ms. Raccomando,
Yes.
Ms. Borelli,
Yes.
Ms. Ainello,
Yes to all, but I'm going to abstain from 555.
554. Ms. Ainello? Where'd she go?
I don't know. I think she froze.
I think, was it 554?
That is what I heard.
I think so because of the coaching positions,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You were cutting out on me. It was 554. Yeah, the coaching. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Laurentino?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Quinn?
Yes. Ms. Shanley or Mr. Crowdy, do you have anything to add before we adjourn?
I do not think so. I'll see you all hopefully Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, meeting for the public on the opening of schools.
We'll
Thank
put
you.
the meeting notice on the website.
Yep.
Information.
Thank you. On that, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for all of your excellent questions. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.